Latest batch of emails from Hillary Clinton's server. Portions of 215 of them have been retroactively marked classified. And the AP was first to report that the server was the target of at least 5 phishing attempts. They came in the form of speeding tickets sent by hackers, at least one with Russian ties. The Clinton campaign says they have no evidence to suggest she replied to the emails or opened an attachment, and also say the system was never breached. The emails show only that she received spam like millions of Americans. But the new trove of emails reveal awareness over hacking attempts. In one exchange, Clinton jokes about a discrepancy over a staffer's personal and department email address. Quote, "I just checked and I do have your state, but not your Gmail. So how did that happen? Must be the Chinese." And in June 2011, Anne-Marie Slaughter wrote to the secretary, quote, "I'm sure you've thought of this, but it would be a great time for someone inside or outside to make a statement or write an op-ed that points out that state's technology is so antiquated that no one uses a state-issued laptop, and even high officials routinely end up using their home email accounts to be able to get their work done quickly and effectively." Clinton agreed and asked how best to follow up. Her chief of staff, Cheryl Mills, suggested it's better to hear from someone on the outside, adding, quote, "I'm not sure we want to telegraph how much folks do or don't do off state mail because it may encourage others who are out there to try hacking them." And here's what Valerie Jarrett had to say yesterday to Andrea Mitchell about guidelines for using email.
Weren't there guidelines from the White House to all cabinet secretaries?
Well, yes, there were.
To use government
absolutely.
email.
We feel, obviously, we want to make sure that we preserve all government records, and so there was guidance given that government business should be done on government emails, and that if you did use a private email, that it should be turned over. That's what she's doing as recently as you said a few minutes ago.
And comments?
Well, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
It's very interesting what's happening here, John Heilman. You know, so we just routinely remarked, 215 of the emails had classified information in them. And it's kind of like this is turning into a Clinton scandal, if you want to call it a scandal. The way they do it is you just get so much information that after a while people just learn to tune it out. And like Mike Barnacle said, people don't want to hear about that anymore. People, they're confused. They don't. It's not really that hard. If you want to work at getting it really, if you can just sort of focus for more than 3 seconds, it's not that hard. But it just keeps coming out. So we just released something that would have been massive news a month ago, that 215 emails from her server contained classified information. And yet it's going to be met with a collective yawn because there's just, again, just the drip, drip, drip every day that seems to be going in her favor right now.
Well, I don't know. I don't think anybody at this point, including in her world, disputes the notion that this drip, drip, drip over the months has been a huge political drag on her standing in the Democratic race and in the country. It's taken a political toll on her. If you mean that it hasn't yet knocked her out of the Democratic race, it hasn't done that. But I don't think we would, if you look at her poll numbers over the course of the last 6-9 months, as we've talked about a lot on this show, she's underperforming, this is a large part of the reason why. So it seems to me there's been a tangible political impact on her, but there's no doubt that their strategy, as it always is and always has been, is to, if you buckle down and obfuscate and deflect and do the things they always do, that eventually, unless someone ends up in jail, the thing will eventually be survivable. That's, been the Clinton way of dealing with scandals for a long time, and that's the way they're dealing with it now. And you're right, they hope that in the end, at some point, people will eventually tire of it, and unless there's a smoking gun, she'll survive.
They tire of it as the news, the numbers get bigger. And what would have been more shocking months ago suddenly is met with a collective yawn. It's the old frog in, in water, and you just slowly turn it to a boiling point.
And although those Russian attempts to hack into the email or spam Hillary Clinton perhaps didn't turn into anything that compromised national security, it just speaks to how unwise it was to have a private email account, to get the emails that we all get that you delete immediately, but you're the Secretary of State. And again, to hear Valerie Jarrett said, yes, we gave guidance that you should use government email. We had former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright sitting in that chair earlier this week saying, I wouldn't allow my deputy when I was Secretary of State ever to use private email.
Yeah.
It just confirms that it was not a good idea.
Well, you have Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton